Hello everyone, my name is Abhishek and welcome back to my channel. Today is day 19 and in this video we will explore the concept of CloudFront. You might be surprised by looking at Piyush on the thumbnail. Yes, Piyush will join us during the demonstration part. Piyush will lead the demonstration part and will explain us how to configure the CloudFront, how to integrate CloudFront with a storage system. Because we are on AWS, we will learn CloudFront integration with S3 buckets. And not only this, he will walk us through each and every step that is required in this configuration in a detailed way. So please watch this video till the end so that you not only understand the theory part, but you also understand the demonstration and you will be able to implement it by your end. Okay, so before we go there, what we usually do whenever we learn every service, any service in the last 18 days, we initially learned what exactly is this service and what problem is this service solving, right? Similarly, for CloudFront as well, we will start with what is CloudFront and what problem CloudFront is solving. So the textbook definition or the AWS definition says CloudFront is a managed AWS offering or a managed AWS service that provides you the solution for CDN. Okay, what does CDN stands for? CDN is content delivery network. Now I know if you are listening to this term for the very first time called content delivery network, you might be thinking that this is a very complicated or a tough topic. But let me tell you a fun fact that most of us or all of us interact with CDNs on a day-to-day basis. So we use CDNs, we interact with CDNs on a daily basis when we access applications like YouTube, when we use Instagram, when we use Snapchat, or when we use any of these image sharing or video sharing platforms. We all interact with CDNs. Not only that, on a day-to-day basis, whether you are using amazon.com, whether you are using Flipkart or any applications, you are typically interacting with their CDNs. So let me make it very, very simple by taking that example itself, so that after this you will never get a question of what exactly CDN is. Let's say that there is a image and a video sharing platform. The reason why I'm taking this as an example is CDN can be explained very, very better way if we take this image and video sharing platforms. If not, I can also explain you CDN with amazon.com or any other websites, but this is very, very relatable. So let's say there is this platform called Instagram. On a broad level or on a very high level, if I ask you what is Instagram, you will simply tell me that, okay, let's say there is a person in Australia uploads a reel, image, post, story, anything, right? So typically when the person in Australia, if this person is trying to upload a image or a video, it gets uploaded to the Instagram portal, and Instagram will have a central storage system. Instagram might have multiple storage locations, but to make it easy, let's assume that there is one central storage system for Instagram, and Instagram copies this image that you have uploaded in the central storage system. Now anybody in the world can access this image on the Instagram portal through the central storage system, or they can access this image here through the Instagram portal. Okay, now let's say there is a friend of this person in Australia, and this person is trying to access this image. So he came to know that his friend has uploaded an image or a video. So he goes to the Instagram portal, and Instagram refresh its feed, and Instagram will rewrite him to this particular image in the storage system. Let's say this is the process. Okay, this is not the actual process, there is CDN in between, but let's assume this is the process. What would happen? So without CDN, if you are following this approach, what will happen is, for this person in India, right, let's say the Instagram's central storage system is somewhere in the US. Let's say it's in the North Virginia, just for an example. Okay, So what would happen is, for this person in India to access this image, firstly, this person would go through multiple, I mean, the request would go through multiple routers. It will go through multiple hops, would reach Instagram server. And from there, again, it will go to multiple hops and it will reach this system, right? Now, once the image is accessed, then again, for the image to reach this person in India, it has to go through multiple hops, reach Instagram server, and from there, it again has to go through multiple hops and reach this person in India. Now, what is hops here? What am I talking about? I'm basically talking about multiple routers. For anything you access on on internet, whether it's google.com or whether it's any website that you are trying to access or any page that you are trying to access, the request goes through multiple routers. Now, depending upon the number of routers or depending upon the number of hops your request has to take to reach the image or to reach the content that you are accessing, the latency keeps increasing. Now, let's say the latency is high. Okay, let's say Instagram is following this same approach. Instagram is not using CDN and following this approach. What would happen is, when you open the Instagram portal, because all the images and all the servers, and all the videos are in North Virginia region only, people in the US can easily access them, and they will not find any latency. That means when they open the Instagram app, the reels and the images, they get quickly populated, and they can access it without any loading or without any buffering. For people in other parts of world, because it has to go through multiple routers, they will find loading time, the content to reach them, it will take a lot of time, and you will not have a better user experience. That means the UX is not good. Is it acceptable for platforms like Instagram? Definitely not. So that's why what they will do is they will use something called as CDN. Okay, so here we are. Now what CDN will do is it will solve this problem in a very simple way. So if we draw the same diagram, again there is Instagram. So there is this person from Australia, uploads the image. So initially, let's say the image goes to a central storage system. So what you will do is you will place a CDN here. Okay, so there will be a CDN, and what you will tell people from other parts of the world, okay, or anyone who is trying to access this image, instead of accessing the Instagram server directly, or you will map the CDN to the Instagram's DNS, and you will tell to access CDN. Okay, so CDN is a service, or in AWS, CDN is basically CloudFront. So if you are on AWS, you will just tell that, okay, either access my CDN, or to make it easy, you will map the domain name to the CDN. And whenever this person in India, when they try to access this image, they will directly talk to the CDN, and CDN creates local copies of the image. Okay, what CDN will do? CDN will basically create local copies. That means instead of the image getting stored in the central location, now it will get stored in the edge locations. Watch this term carefully. I am telling that the image, instead of getting stored in the central location, along with the central location, there will be multiple copies of this image that will be stored in the edge locations. Okay, that means this copy of the image that was uploaded by the person in Australia, there will be a copy in the India region, there will be a copy in the US East region, there will be a copy in the Europe region. So if person from India is trying to access, what CDN will do? CDN will say that, okay, I have a copy for you in the India region itself. Instead of going through the central server, you can access it from here. If person in US is trying to access the CDN, then CDN will say that, okay, you don't have to go to the central storage system. I have a copy for you in the US, in the Europe region itself. So you can download, or you can access, you can watch the videos or reels from the local region itself. So that way CDN solves the problem by keeping multiple local copies. So for you to understand in a better way, when someone uploads a reel or when someone uploads a Instagram's image, I mean image to Instagram, what would happen? Instagram uses CDN, and Instagram CDN keeps this image in multiple local storage locations. Okay, it depends upon how you are configuring the CDN. So Piyush will show that in the demonstration part. But let me introduce you first, Piyush, who is going to be our tutor trainer for today's video. Piyush is a cloud expert. He is doing great work on his channel, Tech Tutorials with Piyush. You can check his channel. But let me hand it over to Piyush to just give a brief introduction, and he'll start over the demonstration today.
Thank you so much, Abhishek bhai, for inviting me to your channel once again. It's always a pleasure talking to you and sharing stage with you. It's such an honor for me,
Arre,
and
thank you so much.
congratulations for reaching to 50K subscriber on your YouTube channel. You have been
Thank
doing some
you.
amazing work over there, and everyone is noticing it. Everyone is talking about it. So keep doing it, and we
Sure,
all
man.
are here to support you in the best possible way.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
yeah, we can start the demo. So let me just share my screen.
Sure.
So in this video, we'll be talking about how to host a static website on S3 bucket. We will not be talking much about what S3 bucket is because you have already explained that in your previous video. So viewers, if you are new to Abhishek Bhai's channel, please go ahead and watch the previous video and link in the description section. So just to give you a brief introduction, S3 bucket is an object-based storage which is used to host static files. So static files such as your audio files, right, your video files, and your binary large objects. So
Yeah.
anything that is considered as an object, you can upload it to S3 bucket and you can directly serve that in your website from there. Now,
Done.
we can directly host our website to S3 bucket. We can do that, and users can directly go to your bucket and your content will be rendered. But that is
Yes.
not considered as a sorry, but that is not considered as a best practice. If user can directly have access to S3 bucket for rendering the content, there'll be a lot of challenges, there'll be a lot of security concerns, there'll be a lot of, because they
Yes.
have direct access to your bucket. And so that would be one challenge. Another challenge would be latency, right? Because everyone will be accessing the bucket, so there could be a slowness in loading the audio video files or any static content. And also there'll be cost, right? So
Mm.
every time you download or upload something to S3 bucket, it there is a cost associated with it. Right. So to overcome all these challenges like security, latency, cost, and there could be many more. So there is a concept called CDN. Right. CDN is Content Delivery Network. So it helps you cache the content in the nearest edge locations. And so the CDN service for AWS is CloudFront. So CloudFront is a type of CDN service. What it will do is it will cache all the content like audio, video content and everything at its edge location. So these edge locations could be, from where the user is accessing the data. Let's say we have two users over here. One
Mm-hmm.
is accessing the website from somewhere in India, let's say New Delhi. Another
Okay.
one is somewhere sitting in Canada, let's say Toronto. So when they are accessing the website through the edge location, from here the content will be cached. So S3 will serve the content at its edge location over here, and the next time somewhere from Delhi try to access the website, you don't have to go to the S3 bucket. They can directly go to the edge location and access the data because content is already cached here, and this edge location is over here somewhere, right? It's not in the bucket hosting location, it's there in the location from where the user is accessing the data. There are edge
Yeah.
locations all over the world, so it will be cached to the nearest edge location. The same way, someone from Toronto is accessing the website, right? So it will be cached at its nearest edge location over here. So next time someone from Toronto try to access it or let's say someone from Montreal, which is also in Canada, try to access the website, they don't have to go to the bucket. They can directly access it from the nearest location, right?
Done.
So it helps enhancing the security because now users are not accessing the S3 bucket directly. That's one thing. Second one is cost. Now you won't have to pay all the upload and download cost because the content is already cached in the CloudFront edge location. So that is done. And latency, it provides the highest latency. Sorry, it provides the lowest possible latency because content is cached at the nearest location of the user. So for user, it doesn't matter where the website is hosted. Website could be hosted somewhere in US or somewhere in Europe, but the users are accessing from their nearest edge location, so the data transfer cost will be less, and it helps optimizing the cost. So that's
Done.
an overview. I hope I have not gone too far, Abhishek, but
No,
let
no,
me know
no.
if you
Perfect.
want to. Yeah.
No, no, perfect. I think, Piyush, you have explained very well on the
Okay.
concept of edge and the concept of content delivery, right? Using CloudFront. So we will see how to use CloudFront on the AWS console and how to integrate CloudFront with S3. But I think till now it is very clear that the CloudFront add the edge capabilities, and using the edge capability, you can, whoever is the user, they can access the content very quickly from their edge location, so the latency is very less. Yeah, perfect.
Awesome. So we can go ahead. I've logged into my AWS console and we can go directly to S3 and try to host the website first, and then we'll add the
Yes.
CloudFront distribution on top of it. So
So
I'm in my
usually
S3
what
bucket.
kind of so
Hmm.
usually if we take a basic example, right, Piyush?
Yep.
So
Hmm.
let's say I have my application. Let's say I'm working for a
Hmm.
e-commerce application. So
Hmm.
uh, we will host for the purpose of audience. So we will host our website related stuff on this S3
Hmm.
bucket, and we will use
Hmm.
CloudFront. And the
Hmm.
application is hosted somewhere else, right? We can
Yeah.
host our application on
Hmm.
Kubernetes, or we can host our application on EC2
Hmm.
instances. Perfect.
Yeah, that's true. So there are like mainly these two use cases, whether we need to just render the dynamic, like the static content from the S3 bucket, then we use it and host our website somewhere else. Or if it is a complete static website, then we can just upload the content over here and it will be served directly from the S3 bucket.
Perfect.
Yep. So as
Yeah,
part of the first step, we'll go ahead and create a bucket by clicking over here and
done.
name the bucket. So the bucket name should be same as your domain name, right? So currently we are not using any domain, but let me just put my domain over here, tech tutorials with Piyush.com. So if we were using a DNS, a custom domain, then this name should be same as your custom domain, right? So that's what we put, and make sure you add www and like the exact name of it. Then the
Perfect.
AWS region in which the bucket will be hosted. Then keep the setting as default. And then there is this option, block all public assets. So make sure it is checked. That means only CloudFront should be able to access this bucket and user
Yes.
cannot directly access it, right?
Perfect.
So we'll keep it enabled, and you can enable bucket versioning so that in case there is an object deleted, you can always recover the deleted object if the bucket versioning is enabled. This is
Perfect.
adding the versioning capabilities to the bucket itself, right?
Sure.
Let's keep these settings as default and then go to advanced settings. Yeah, I guess this should be good, and hit on create bucket.
And Piyush, let's say someone who is watching this video, they don't
Hmm.
have their own DNS or something. They can
Yep.
still go and set up something like example.com or something, right? We
Yeah,
can.
yeah, yeah. So you can use anything because we are not doing that part in this particular demo.
Exactly.
So yeah, so you can add any name as you want. So that is
Perfect.
okay. Now I'll just go to the bucket that's just been created.
Hmm.
And if we go to properties, the second tab, and go down, like scroll at the bottom of the page, and there'll be a section which says static website hosting. So on
Perfect.
the right side, click edit and enable it.
Done.
Okay. Once you enable it, there'll be two options: host a static website or redirect request for an object. right? This option, the second one, redirect request to another bucket or domain.
Hmm.
But we will be using the first option, host a static website. Then add your index page over here. Let's say
Next dot.
index.html. And
Perfect.
if you have an error page as well, so error.html,
Okay.
right? And let's go down and hit on save changes.
Done.
Okay, so we have created the bucket and we have enabled the static website hosting on that. And make sure
Perfect.
that the public access is blocked, right?
Blocked.
So then go to bucket again, and now we'll upload the object. So we'll upload index.html and some static content. So click over
Sure.
here, upload, add files, and let's see where it is. Okay, C1. Okay, so I have my CSS and index.html. So this is just a simple website that I created just for demo purpose.
Perfect.
So I have yeah, added all like both of the objects over here, and
Yeah.
then hit upload.
We haven't uploaded the error.html, but still fine. Like if you
Yeah,
want, you can add error.html, but still,
yeah,
even if you ignore, that's fine.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's been done, right? So our objects are uploaded. Now if we go to the bucket, so there is no URL over here, but you can just go to um, properties and
Mm-hmm.
then copy the URL from here somewhere. Like if you scroll down, so this URL will be created for you, right? If you
Done.
copy it and try to open it, it shouldn't access it. Like you shouldn't have access to it because we have disabled the public access. So that's
Public
why
access.
it is showing the error 403 forbidden. Okay. So to gain access to this bucket and to host our website, now we'll be moving on to the next step, which is CloudFront. So I'll go ahead and search CloudFront, which is this, and we'll go ahead and create a distribution, right? So hit
Sure.
create distribution and then choose origin domain, origin, which is the source origin from where the data will be rendered. So if you click over here, all your available S3 buckets and other options as well will be listed down. Like you
Hmm.
can do it this via API gateway. Like you can put CloudFront in front of API gateway as well, Elastic Load Balancer, right? But in this demo, we are using AWS S3. So this is
Amazing.
the bucket that we just created. So we choose this as an origin domain, right? And it's say it's just a warning message that it has static website hosting enabled, and you can
Yeah.
use the website endpoint, but it's okay. You can ignore that point. That's not really relevant. Okay, then name of the origin. This will be auto-populated when you selected the first option.
Mm-hmm.
Now, origin access should not be public. It should be either origin access control settings or legacy access settings, legacy access identity. So this is what you are using.
Okay.
So we'll be creating a identity called origin access identity. So consider this as a user that has access to the bucket, right? So if you have worked with Linux environment earlier, so there is a concept called functional IDs, right? So consider this as a functional ID that has access to your bucket. So this is like a virtual user that we are
Yes.
creating and with the access to the bucket, right? So select this, create, or we'll create a new one. So just hit over here, create new OAI, and hit create. So a new identity will be created and it will have access to your bucket. And then
Bucket.
to enable that access, you have to update the bucket policy. Now I will
Perfect.
show you the bucket policy as well after this, but for now, just click over here, update the bucket policy, and it will add one more rule to the bucket policy, which states that allow access from this OAI to the bucket. So
Yeah.
bucket will be
I think
able to, yeah,
so. I have explained that concept in one of our last
okay,
videos, that how to use
mhm,
bucket policy and only
yeah,
allow specific users to access the bucket. Maybe Piyush will also show us in this
yeah,
demonstration how to only allow this OAI to access the bucket through the bucket policy.
Yep. Yep. So yeah, so that's what you can do. So that it's not public, but still your users should be able to access it with the help of
Yes.
OAI. And you can keep rest of the things as default, or you can make the changes as per your need, like redirect HTTP to HTTPS if you have
Hmm.
SSL enabled for it, or allow HTTP method. So let's keep it default. And
Sure.
then these are just caching settings. These are really high level concepts, so I'm not explaining all those. So yeah, so that should be good. And optionally you can enable web application firewall for enhanced
Sure.
security. But for this demo, let's just keep it the way it is right now, because it costs extra like $14 for 10 million requests. Not that
Yeah.
I'll be having 10 million requests per month on this website that I have created, but
Yeah.
we don't need it at the moment. And this is the the edge locations that we talked about. So you can use
Yes.
all edge location. Like, let's say your website is hosted, your users are expected to visit the website throughout the world, right,
Hmm.
from all over the world. So you can use the first
Hmm.
option. If your website is, let's say you have an e-commerce website and your customer base is only in North America and Europe region, right? So there
Yes.
is no point of enabling that to the world. Just this option should be good, right?
Sure.
And then you can add an alternate domain name as well. But for now, like, we don't need to do it. But if you have a website, you created the domain as www.xyz.com, then you can add alternate C name, like just xyz.com without www, or
Sure.
anything else that you have, right?
Yeah, I think let's just give a disclaimer that if you want to try this video, you have to be very careful. There can be some pricing if you are using a free tier AWS
Yep.
account, and
Yes.
if you don't want to add or include any kind of expensing or pricing to your account, then do this video very carefully, because there are multiple places where pricing can be included. If you don't
Mhm.
want to include pricing, then you can still watch this video, understand the concept, and restrict yourself to the static website hosting on S3 bucket and enable the public access. There no price will be charged to
Yep.
you, or you don't have to worry
Yep.
about much about the pricing. But if you are doing this video that Piyush is performing, be very careful and understand that there is expense included.
Yeah. So CloudFront service itself, it has some cost associated with it.
Yeah.
But when we talk about a real-time use case, when there is a website on which like millions and thousands of users are expected to visit that website, in that case, that cost will be lower than you know with the use case when we are not using CloudFront.
Yeah.
So for the demo purpose, yes, you may get some charges. So use it carefully, or just understand it what it is, and you can just create it and delete it
Exactly.
whatever, but don't forget to delete it after you have done with the demo,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So the next part is, if you have created an SSL certificate, like, had I been using the custom domain, I would have created this SSL certificate, but because we are not using it, there is like, I do have an certificate that I have created previously, so I can just select it from here. But now we don't need it, because we haven't created it yet. Or maybe just
Yes.
I'll just, oh yeah, let's not use it, because then you will be confused. And
Perfect.
then there is this default root object. So if your bucket, the content inside your bucket has multiple subfolders, subdirectory, then there is this option, then which in which you can specify default root object, that your website will be used as the home page, right? So you
Perfect.
can just add index.html if you want, right? Or
Sure.
or whenever user does not mention anything, let's say if I am going to the website and I'm just going to the home page of it, then this
Yeah.
page should be rendered, right? So that's why I have mentioned it over here. And basically that's it. And then you can hit create distribution. Oh, okay. So this is a mandatory option of web application firewall. Like, you have to either choose to enable it or disable it.
Disable it.
right? So let's disable it and hit
And
create
even
distribution.
IPv6, you can turn it on or off depending upon
Yep.
your requirement.
Yep.
Yeah,
So because we have enabled the distribution for North America and Europe region, it will be comparatively faster deployment than if we would have enabled it for all over the world.
all
But
regions.
even then, it
Yeah.
will take, I guess, 5 to 10 minutes.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yep. So maybe we'll wait for that. And once it is done, so there'll be this distribution domain name. So now this is our URL, which will point to the S3 bucket. So if we copy this one and try to access this from here, it won't show you anything because it's currently in the deployment stage. But then our website
Okay.
will be rendered over here once it is deployed. And yes, this access to the S3 bucket, it will be forbidden. And while it is getting deployed, let me show you the S3 bucket policy that was updated that we talked about. Right. So I have opened a new tab, and this is S3 bucket. Okay, let's go to the bucket. Oops. And then go to permissions.
Bucket
Right. If
policy.
you scroll down bucket policy, so you see
Awesome.
there is this object added which says effect is allow, principal is CloudFront origin access identity, and this is an ID for that OAI that was created. And
Okay.
action is S3 get object, and resource is the S3 bucket. Right. So
Perfect.
this identity has access to get object from this bucket. That's what it
Okay.
means, right? You can create this policy manually as well. I'm sure you have discussed this already,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But you can go to the policy generator and generate the policy on your own, or you can just enable that option that we have just seen, and using that it will automatically update the bucket policy and add this over here,
Perfect.
right? So yeah, so that's what we wanted to see. And let's see if it's okay, so it's still deploying. Let me refresh the page. Yeah, it will take a couple of more minutes maybe.
Sure. No problem. Yeah. Meanwhile, I think what we are trying to do at this point of time, just if we quickly recap, right? Because it is taking anyways a couple of minutes to deploy.
Mhm.
So we are using CloudFront at this point of time, and this CloudFront is adding the edge capability. Like you have seen Piyush adding distribution to North America and Europe region, right? And then we have used CloudFront, and using this CloudFront, now you will see that. Okay, so you might be thinking like, why should I use CloudFront? Without using CloudFront, I can still access. Yes, you can definitely access, but the three main advantages that Piyush has talked about. One is to reduce the latency, and if you are not using CloudFront, see, CloudFront might be a paid service, but if you are using CloudFront, when you have large number of people accessing your application, for example, Amazon.com or Flipkart.com, if they host on S3 buckets, then large number of people, when they try to access, CDN will actually reduce the cost. So that's what Piyush was also mentioning during the video. So these kind of capabilities and these kind of advantages you get from CDN. And yeah, so definitely in your organization, if you are experimenting or if you are trying to use, then use S3 buckets in combination with CloudFront.
Awesome. So I guess it's deploying, but let's quickly check if it is deployed.
Sure.
So I've copied the distribution once again and I have opened it.
Oh wow, I think
Okay.
now
So
we are seeing it.
yes. So
Awesome.
yes, it's deployed. So it's just a simple page, nothing fancy about it. And this is what we I created for our 10 weeks of cloud ops challenge demo. So yeah, so if you see over here, it was where it is. Let me see. Oh yeah, it says last modified, so it's been deployed. Um,
Awesome.
we were seeing it as in deploying status, but we were able to access it because we enabled it for multiple locations, North
Hmm,
America and Europe. It might have deployed it for North America. I'm in the North America region, so that's why I was able to access it before it
exactly.
was completely deployed. So yeah, that's all about it. And then once this is done, don't forget to delete the distribution. So
Yeah.
I'm
Now,
and
can we go to the S3 bucket URL and try to access it?
yes, so here is the bucket URL over here, and yes, it will be still forbidden. User should not have access to it.
Awesome. Awesome. So still what is happening is if you try to access it from the S3 bucket URL, you are still getting access denied. But if someone tries to access from the URL that we have seen, that from the CDN or the CloudFront URL, then they will be able to access it directly and there will be very less latency for them.
Yep. So I'm gonna disable the distribution. So my wife was using my account and she left the CloudFront open. So she forgot to delete it. So I'm gonna delete it now.
Awesome.
So yeah, so it will take some time. Once it is disabled, we can just select it and delete it. And the same way we can delete the S3 bucket as well. So I'll
Perfect.
do that afterwards.
Perfect. Yeah, Piyush, I think you made it so easy that I'm pretty sure that anyone who is watching this video, they can go ahead, they can use this CloudFront and they can exactly follow the tutorial that you have stated. And I'm very sure audience will try this demo and they will let us know in the comment section.
Yeah, so please guys try to do the hands on, because sometimes when we see something we easily forget, like after a couple of hours or maybe after a few days. So make sure
Exactly.
you do the actual hands on. Let us know in the comment if you face any difficulty or any suggestion, any improvement. Feel free to let us know, and we'll be there to help you out. And please support Abhishek as you have always done. So yeah, and
And
let's help him get that 100K subscriber really soon. We need that silver button on that wall. So yeah,
wow.
let's aim for that.
Yeah, I think one final word before we close is like if you look at Piyush channel, right? So it has content on Azure. So Piyush was doing the complete Azure fundamentals AZ 900 course, and Piyush also has tutorials regarding GCP. But it's one of the most underrated channels on the YouTube, both cloud and DevOps community. So I'll highly recommend whoever is watching this video and whoever is our subscriber, immediately go to Piyush channel and please click on that subscribe button, because you have so much of free content, you have so much of content that is available on Piyush channel from where you can learn a lot. So please go and subscribe, and yeah, definitely Piyush will also do more such amazing videos on the channel, and I'm very sure about it.
Thank you so much, Abhishek bhai. It really means a lot. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, thanks
And
everyone for
I will
watching
see you
today's
soon. Thank
video.
you so much. Okay, take care. Bye
Take
bye.
care.